said, shit, a lot of things that you put out wasn't seen by the masses, and everybody is looking like, yeah, and it's not never seen by the masses. And God said, why would you do it like that? And then you stopped. I said, shit, that is her. And she keep on doing this and keep on doing that. And eventually, you know what? They gotta let you ride, baby. And I said, don't we know it, boo? A lot of people don't want people to ride, but shit, this is good news. What up, G? I miss you, bitch. You my bitch. And I said, what? Yeah, that's my bitch. And I've been fucking with that bitch for years. And y'all act like what? I don't know that bitch. And they single by themselves. And I said, shit, that's an amazing motherfucker. And y'all want to sit up here and act like they not? I said, nigga, fuck you and whatever the fuck you got going on, nigga. Because that bitch right there will tell your ass off in a minute and wouldn't give a fuck. And I said, don't we know it, boo? This is a future prediction and someone's ships is coming in. And I said, they don't even realize that they ships is coming in. And they getting tired of this shit. And I said, don't we fucking know it too? I said, a lot of people is terrified and petrified of doing nothing no more. This bitch don't even want to transcend and take on no new clients. And she said, shit, I don't know who you is, and I'm kind of scared of not saying nothing. See, a lot of people want to constantly be able to ruin people's names, but they can't ruin people's names the way that they used to. And everybody is under investigation. And I said, shit, that nigga still taking care of somebody. We can't say nothing. I said, they legit than a motherfucker. This is family, nigga. I said, family takes care of family. And I said, don't we fucking know it, boo? We've been waiting. And we've been waiting for a long time. And a lot of people is always trying to act like people, you know what, got this and got that. But this is a lot of past energy. And she really is looking and saying, shit, are you okay now? Can we not say nothing to you again? And grandma said, they gonna end up being closed down pretty soon. And because that should never happen. And I said, ain't that the truth? I said, we've been through enough. And this Eight of Swords energy is the good Eight of Swords energy that I created a year ago. And grandma said, that's what people don't know yet. I said, you already been on top. And this motherfucker want to act like what? People ain't watching, nigga. People be watching and shit. And then they be acting all funny and everything. And I said, what? What the fuck we gonna do? I said, shit, because you was in your masculine energy and you don't give a fuck, boo. A lot of these women is starting to say, you know what, fuck you, draw two, shit. I'm by myself, nigga. And you think I give a fuck? I don't. I don't give a fuck, and you don't give a fuck either. And everybody wants you to give a fuck. And I said, for what? When I was all up in my feelings, y'all ain't do what y'all was supposed to do, and I ain't in my feelings no more. It's a better partnership, boo. I said, shit, don't we know it, baby? I said, whatever the fuck that bitch is doing, she gonna do it and get it done. See, you already moving forward. And that's what they don't like, baby. You're moving forward and you're doing things that you supposed to do, and you got options. And you sitting up here letting people know that you ain't no dumb bitch. And they gotta go sit their ass the fuck down. Can we talk about it? I don't even know if we can talk about it. I said, that bitch knows. And you won't be able to do shit unless you is licensed, bitch. And I said, don't we know it? I said, I think I already know who you talking about. And God said, you is that bitch. And everybody looking like shit. And you are, hey boo, you that one bitch that's crazy than a motherfucker, ain't you? I said, shit, we ain't emotional, but a lot of motherfuckers is emotional, boo. All these motherfucking water signs, they supposed to be the healers, but they always want to get close to a motherfucker and see if they can bring them down even further. And I said, not that one. And that's the truth, boo. Five of Swords energy coming out with the Four of Pentacles. They've been sitting up here strategically holding back a lot of shit. But I said, y'all ain't asked for nothing. But everybody else is asking for shit. And I said, interesting. So you said, what about that bitch? Yeah, that bitch knows how to open their mouth and say what they need to say. And I said, interesting. I guess you can't get that bitch to shut the fuck up. I said, yeah, you ain't no punk, bitch. And God said, and you not. See, a lot of people be acting like people punks out here in these broke ass streets, but not today, tomorrow, and next week. And you know what? I ain't even get a picture of your ass yet. And I'm trying to see your ass everywhere and be like, yeah, that's my bitch. Nah, not today, tomorrow, and next week. And I said, don't we fucking know it, boo. Take care of you.